Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. I'm Rev Katherine, Economou, and I'm being joined by John Foltz as he has to jump over my stuff to get to the...
Navigating whatever.
I'm so sorry.
Can I set this
Yes,
here?
absolutely. You may set it on that. So, good morning, everyone. We want to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living, Temecula Valley, and our Unplugged celebration service.
Unplugged, unstructured.
Unplugged means...
No, there is a structure.
There's structure.
There is a structure.
And
it
you're
just
actually
sometimes
plugged in.
Doesn't feel like it.
It's funny, I keep saying it's unplugged.
The camera's plugged in.
The camera's plugged in, and you're plugged in.
I am.
I'm not plugged in. But so I wanted to say good morning and welcome you all as everyone's jumping on here. Our friends are joining us on Facebook Live. We're glad you found us. If you are new to the Center for Spiritual Living and you are just scrolling or seeing this from somebody else's feed, we want to welcome you. We are an intentional spiritual community that comes together to remember the divine presence of God in all things and each and every one of us. And so we welcome you. We're grateful that you're stopping by, and we are ready for a service today. So here we are once again in my home. Now we have been filming from my living room, and I feel like I need to explain this a little bit.
It's probably what happened.
Yeah, what happened? I know, it's strange. So we are actually in a different location in my house. Not just to play tricks on you, but because my husband and I are in the middle of a little bit of a renovation in our house. And this week they've been working on retiling our hearth. And so that's where we've been, in the living room. And so right now, and I'll show you a picture of, I'll put up a picture on my Facebook about what it actually looks like right now. It is covered in plastic and not appropriate for us to do a service in front of it.
It's not aesthetic,
it's
and it would just
really,
be waving
I know,
behind us
waving
the
and
whole time.
making noise and all that. I could hear
fun.
it. I could hear it during the meditation. I don't know if anybody could hear it during the meditation, so if you did, I'm sorry about that, but the fan was making the plastic move a little bit. So here we are in one of my other rooms, and I figured maybe we'll have some fun with this and pop around from week to week. Just kidding.
We're going to be in the kitchen next week.
Next week we'll be cooking in the kitchen. We'll shift from church to a cooking show.
Sure.
That's a great idea.
Really, really great.
Okay, we've been doing this for a long time. All right, so we've got a great service.
4 months now.
I know.
Can you believe? 4 months.
I know, it's
Count
4
it.
months this week.
4
yeah.
months.
4 months.
4
yes.
months.
We miss you all very
Breathe.
much. I know, we all need
Everyone,
to breathe on
including
this.
us.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit later with everything that's been closing down again in the last week or so. We had made the decision to stick with this until we really know that it's safe to come back together as a community, and I think that was the right decision, because we'd be back doing it again. We would have been together for a couple weeks, and then we'd be back together.
Right.
And it is our greatest desire to make sure that everybody stays well and safe. And so we're going to stick with this for a while until we can make sure that we can do it safely and that it's possible to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, you've got us here in our Unplugged service. So I think we could get started.
Sure.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
We are one. We are one. I am you. You are me. We are one. And in this unity, we all live in harmony, and peace has come. For we are one, and peace has come, for we are one.
so just breathing into this moment, I remember that we are one. That there is one power, one presence, one life, and one light that we call God. It is that which has created all things, the infinite creator of all life and all things everywhere. It is in and through all of its creation in each and every one of us. And so I know God as that infinite wisdom, that light, that life, that truth. It is here in this time together. And with a grateful heart, I give thanks for the technology that continues to unite us, knowing that we connect heart to heart from across the miles to remember the truth of our being, that we are one in the Spirit. And so the light of love, of peace, of harmony, of abundance and of joy, of possibility and potential simply permeates our experience, our consciousness, and our lives. And this is God in action. And so on this day, I bless this time together. I give thanks for the gift that John Foltz is unto this spiritual community, and know that we come together from that space of the heart to create a space of healing, of inspiration, of joy and connection for each and every one of us. And so with a heart filled with love and light, I simply allow it to be. And joyfully, we begin. And so it is. Amen. Amen, amen. So, thanks for that.
Yes.
How's your summer going?
It's good.
Have you been to the beach at all?
Yeah, we did. We went actually for Abby's birthday, which we celebrated actually after her birthday, but we went and did not put enough sunscreen on.
Oh no. Who didn't put enough sunscreen on?
None of us.
Oh no.
None of us. All four of us had varying blotches. Well, I mean, I'll admit, the brightest one of the group didn't put on any.
Oh.
I usually don't burn. I usually don't. I just don't. I don't usually burn.
That. Oh wow.
So that was real fun.
Wow.
It was fun. All of us were like just walking,
Carefully. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Well, it was fun.
I have not been to the beach yet, but it's my intention this next week to get to the beach. I'm like ready to jump
It was
in the
nice.
water.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
It was definitely nice.
Good. That's good. It's really summer though. It's like
this last
really
week.
Summer.
Really
I
summer,
know.
over 100.
I know, it's been so hot and crazy.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody's finding ways of staying cool and enjoying this beautiful summer. My exciting news this week is that my garden has really started to come in.
There you go.
So I did a big garden. Actually, I have gifts for you. I have some zucchini for you if you want it. I think so. This is the time of year when I live in Fallbrook, and we have a joke in Fallbrook that you have to lock your cars starting in July, or else you'll come back and there'll be a thing of zucchini in your front seat. Because zucchini goes so crazy here that everybody's just got so much to give away, and I can't eat enough zucchini.
In that case, I'm going to leave my doors unlocked.
Oh yeah, there you go. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see all the work I did in the spring coming to fruition in the garden, and so we're gonna have some great meals coming up. I'm excited about that, and I may have enough tomatoes to make salsa, which is my exciting thing. So
Yum,
make
yum.
good salsa. But we've got a service to do today. We could sit and chat all morning, and we could just, take your comments and chat, but I think we should probably get to what we've got. Yeah.
Get to it.
So I think you have a chant for us.
I do have a chant with my squeaky pedal that I noticed.
I noticed that.
Wonder if maybe I'll find some WD-40 this week.
It's like a little mouse.
It is. I'm not stepping on a mouse, I promise. I'm just trying to make the notes last. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Wonderful Spirit, pour your joy in me, Wonderful Spirit, shine your light in me, shine your light into my heart. Wonderful Spirit, dance and smile with me, dance and smile into my heart. Wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Wonderful Spirit, wonderful Spirit. Wonderful Spirit. Wonderful Spirit. Wonderful Spirit.
Oh, it's lovely. I love that one.
It's a good one.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so our reading for today, we've been working with 365 Science of Mind by founder Ernest Holmes. And our reading today is actually from page 212, and its title is, I See with the Eyes of God. So I invite you to just get comfortable, maybe close your eyes if it opens your ability to hear these words, and just take this in. It starts with the scripture, John 9:25. One thing I know, that whereas I was blind, now I see. The ancients said that there is an all-seeing eye, and if that we could cause our physical eyes to see with its vision, we should be looking at things as they really are. But is it not true that too often we see with a blurred vision because we are so confused mentally? The all-seeing eye of God, by its very nature, being one and only, must forever see things as they really are. This is why Jesus said to judge not according to appearances, but to judge righteously. We cannot expect to draw a pattern of this right seeing from the objective world of confusion, or our inner thoughts of doubt and fear. Therefore, we are told to see and act according to the pattern shewed to thee in the mount. That is, we are to look and think independently of the confusion around us. We are to view everything as we feel the divine, infinite, and perfect being must know and understand its own creation to be. This is seeing with the eyes of God. Today, I am seeing with the eyes of the divine. I am looking at things in a perfect and direct way. I am seeing through confusion to peace, through doubt to certainty, through fear to faith. Quietly then, I review myself, those around me, and everything that occupies my attention, bringing to them all a broader vision, a deeper insight, a more complete perspective of the infinite harmony that I know is back of, in, and through everything that God has made. I am keeping my eye to this one truth. What God has done is good. Therefore, I am surrounded with good. In calm judgment, then, I sit quietly within myself and in my imagination, look around and see everything according to the divine pattern. As I do this, everything I look upon shall become transformed and reborn. And so just breathing into this moment, realizing that we see as God sees, as we let go of our individualized judgment and move into that place of allowing and acceptance, a new truth emerges, a new harmony is realized, a new peace is experienced. And so in this day, we see with the all-seeing eye of the divine, and so it is. All right, amen. Amen, amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen. All right, so are you ready? I think you might have a song for us.
I might.
You might, if we're lucky.
Might. Just might.
My guess is you do.
Now let's go straight into your talk.
All right. No.
All right,
Okay.
no,
All right. I'm
We'll do
going
a
to step
song.
over and let you do that.
All right. You can sing with me.
You know I do. Just not out loud.
Oh, we're just getting sillier by the week. Love gives light and the darkness scatters. A smile you give will be the one that matters to a stranger. Never know what a simple smile could buy. Oh, if you want to be a changer, well, you got to know it starts with the letter I. Yeah, I am they. They are we are all each other. People live in me, and it's not so hard a thing to think of. To live love. And to offer truth to those in doubt now. When you feel like staying in, but you choose to reach out to another, it'll open up your eyes to a better view. Oh, my sisters and my brothers, won't you come and talk with me and I will walk with you. Well, you are me, and I am you. And if it's hope that you're after, well, that's what I want to. And our lives are worth the time as we rise above to live love. The people who hurt, the people who heal, the people who help other people to feel, the people who grow are the people who know how to sow in. And each little step, and each little mile, will circle the earth in just a little while. And the circle starts where it ends, where it starts, I know it. Whoa, whoa, I know it. There's a love we have to give it all for free. But don't you know we owe it? 'Cause if it's not the people for the people, then who are we? Well, we are all, well, we are none. Well, we are 6.5 billion. We flow back into one, and the one creates what everything is made of. And we live love. Yeah, our lives are worth the times we rise above to live love. And it's not so hard to think of to live love. Got to live love. Got to live love. Oh.
Yay! That was great.
Thank you. I don't know where that came from. That was weird.
So what I love so much is that when you were playing, the angel was dancing with
Oh, it
you.
was?
Yeah, she's dancing with you, so.
I
She
love that too.
Yep.
And she's got my coffee right underneath
Yeah,
her,
well,
so maybe.
she's had a little too much caffeine this morning. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's not
we've all
just
had too
her.
much caffeine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all of us are skittering all over.
All right. So here we go again. You can tell me how we're doing here.
Okay, I just need to set this Well, there we
Thank
go.
you.
Hi.
Yeah, you were kind of a little off the shot, but I didn't want to move it too much, so I
That's
will
okay.
next time
That's
for
okay.
the second song. So
That is okay.
okay, all right, great. Well, you know, with all that we've been experiencing lately, and with the pandemic and things, you know, opening and then closing again, you know, one thing that I've been thinking about that we can all agree on is that we're being called to a deeper level of living in the question. This is a main part of the spiritual path, is getting comfortable with that mystery and living in the question. Now, honestly, I think that this is always the truth in life, that we never know what's going to happen. We never know what will happen on each and any day. But in those times, in those, what am I going to call them, in those regular times, in the normal times, in the normal times? Okay. You know, I think that what happens is that we have a capacity to move that fear, that angst, that discomfort aside and just keep moving forward with life, right? And that's kind of how normal, because normal doesn't really exist, it's a construct, but that's a sermon for another day, that it doesn't really, you know, that in normal times we can move that aside and just keep moving forward. Well, right now, it's in our face, like right here in our face, that we are living in this place of the question. We have no idea what's coming, and we can no longer pretend that we have any control. You know, that illusion of control is gone. Byron Katie says, if you want real control, drop the illusion of control. Let life have you. It does anyways. You're just telling yourself the story of how it doesn't. Well, right now that story, I'm doing this a lot today, so I gotta stop doing that. Okay, so the story doesn't hold water, right? And we're all being called to a deeper understanding of life and how it works, both individually and collectively. So this could drive us nuts, right? Like, it could just drive us crazy. There are moments when each of us, I have found in our conversations and in our connections that we do online and talking to people over the last 4 months, that each of us hit our wall with this at a different moment. That we're going along and we can handle the discomfort or the uncertainty, and then all of a sudden enough is enough. You wake up and you're like, okay, I can't handle this anymore. You know, and what happens when we hit that wall? How do we move forward? How do we handle living in the middle of this question? One thing that I can say for certain that can support you and guide you through these rough patches, through those moments where you feel like you're out on the ledge and you can't handle one more thing, it's God. It's living close to the Spirit. I'm reminded of one of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes from The Science of Mind. He says this, and I'm sure if you have heard me speak for a period of time, you've heard me share this quote. But he says this, when things look the worst is the best time to work, the most satisfying time. And what he means by work is to do our spiritual work, our spiritual connection to God. The person who can throw himself with a complete abandon into that limitless sea of receptivity, having cut loose from all apparent moorings, is the one who will always receive the greatest reward. So the idea here is that even though things are challenging right now, even though we are in this place of it's almost tumultuous and uncertain, that when we're moving through these times, it's the perfect time to do our spiritual work. It's the perfect time to know that we can help co-create and shape our experience, that we can allow this movement, right, that this is life moving forward in such a magnificent and powerful way right now, but we can help guide it with our consciousness and with our conscious connection to that presence and that power that we call God. Our goal in this is to live inspired and in spirit. And that's my talk for today. Living inspired and in spirit. And so that sounds really good, right? I came up with the title. I really liked it. I've been living with it for the week, and I'm thinking about what it, well, wait a minute. What does that really mean? Like, what does it mean to live inspired and in spirit? It means that we live with a conscious connection to the presence of God on a daily basis. It means that we make time and space to let go of what we know of the outside world and connect to that feeling of the greater, right? Do you ever have that experience, that feeling that there's something bigger happening here? Do you get those fleeting thoughts or fleeting feelings of the fact that you're part of something bigger than you could even imagine? Maybe it's those moments when you're starting to fall asleep, or right before you wake up, right? When you're in that process of waking up, you have this sense of yourself that's connected to something greater. And we can call it God, you can call it life, you can call it love, you can call it the universe, you could call it consciousness, whatever it is, but there's something bigger than we are. And it's living its life as us. And so when we connect to that and make space for it on a daily basis, then we're living inspired and we're living in spirit. It also means that living in spirit means releasing the limitations that we put on ourselves and immersing ourselves into our true nature. So we grow up with stories, right? We are such story people. We have a story of where we grew up and what happened to us and how it was in our families and what normal means to us and why things have happened to us. We all have our stories, right? But the problem with that is that stories, when we just believe in them, it limits us. It holds us back. It keeps us chained to something that's no longer true, because the story is what happened in the past. It's not the truth of who you are, and it's definitely not what's going to happen in the future for you. When you can let go of those limitations, when you can let go of that story that's going to hold you back as to why you can't do what your heart's desire is, as to why you don't have the experiences or the life or whatever it is that you think you want. When we live in spirit and we live inspired, those limitations fall away. And we move into that place of possibility. We move into that place of wonder, of potential. If things aren't, if we're living in the question anyways, why do we want to live in the question in a limited way? Why don't we move into this infinite realm of possibility, the sea of limitless possibility, with a grand yes, a grand excitement and joy? That's what we get when we live inspired and we live in spirit. So I want to begin with this today. So you looking at me? You with me today? Okay, this is what I want you to know about you. You're magnificent. Do you know that? You are magnificent, just the way you are. You are a gift from God to this world. And I don't mean it in a way to say that you're better than anybody else. Everybody is magnificent. But you are magnificently, uniquely you. How does that feel? Where does that fall within you? I want you to breathe that in for a second. You are magnificent. Period. That's it. Can you hear that? Can you take that in? Can you accept that about yourself? Or do you hear some voice in the back of your head saying funny things about me? That I'm crazy saying crazy things on the internet today? That I don't know you? That I don't know what you've done or where you've been? Truth is, I don't need to. Because I know the truth of your true nature. And I know that you are a divine creation made out of the image and likeness of God itself. And as such, you are. You're magnificent. It's so hard for a lot of people to hear that. It's so hard to accept it. If you were in the meditation this morning, part of the meditation was to look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself that you're beautiful, that I love you, that you deserve to be happy. That's the truth of you too. You're all of those things. But there's something that holds us back from accepting our greatness, that accepting our worthiness. And maybe it's those stories, and maybe it's whatever aspect of being, whatever that is. The truth is that when we can get down into a deep understanding that we are connected to the infinite, and we are part of that divine life, things start to unfold differently. And we can hold ourselves, we can relate to ourselves from that place of our power, of our worthiness, of our magnificence. Our goal is to live in spirit, which means having a deep understanding of what it means to be a divine emanation. If we could do that, what would we look like? We'd look like a spiritual being who's free of limitations, who trusts the divine guidance in every moment, and being open to possibility and to inspiration. That's a different way of living, isn't it? Sometimes we get on survival, and especially in these times, we're on survival, which means we're worried about trying to make ends meet, and how are we going to support our families, and what are we going to do, and how can we work it out. But the truth is, we want to live in spirit. We want to live inspired. And so when you are connected and consciously cultivating that relationship with the divine wisdom, then you get inspired to do something new, to do something different, to try something new, to experience life differently. It's a different way of being that's going to serve you, that's going to support you, that's going to allow you to navigate these times of uncertainty with that true connection and deep trust that there's a power and a presence that wants your happiness, your joy, your fulfillment, and your well-being. That's God, and that's life, and it reveals itself to us as we allow it to. In order for us to get there, to that place of living inspired, to be that spiritual being having this magnificent experience, we need to start to change our awareness of ourselves. So Science of Mind teaches us that we create our lives from our beliefs and our perceptions. And in order to change anything in our life, we need to change our beliefs and our perceptions. Again, change your thinking, change your life. There's no way to live in spirit without a change of awareness. So when we accomplish this, we give ourselves the gift of moving from holding ourselves and thinking of ourselves as flawed, limited, lacking, and imperfect, to being completely comfortable with our magnificence, with our wholeness, with our worthiness. Now, this isn't that inflated ego. This isn't that inflated ego. But it's an of course. Of course we each have unique gifts. Of course we are each unique expressions. Of course we each have something to contribute to this life. Because our lives are purposeful. They have meaning. We are here on purpose. We are not divine accidents. God doesn't create accidents. Again, I could start talking about the platypus. The platypus, though it's a crazy, unique, silly animal when you look at it, there's purpose to every aspect of that divine being. You are a divine platypus. You are a gorgeous, magnificent being. And I'm so glad, John, that you like that one today. Go ahead and laugh. You can laugh if you want to. So what we're doing is we're going to change our awareness and how we hold ourselves. And so there are 3 things that I'm going to share today that if we start to shift our awareness and how we hold ourselves, how we relate to ourselves, we can begin to move into that place of living connected and inspired and in spirit. The first one is we are called to change our awareness of our talents and our abilities. You want to keep the question, who am I, in the forefront of your mind. Not your previous life experiences or what we've been told about our abilities and qualities, not about how worthy we feel, but what's coming forward. I want to remind us that we are always evolving. Right? I've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks, that we are being and becoming at the same time. So we are always becoming more of ourselves. We are learning how to express more of our true nature. And so, who am I in any one moment is going to reveal a deeper expression of yourself. The first century philosopher Epictetus said, "You are a primary existence. You are a distinct portion of the essence of God and contain a certain part of him in yourself. Why then are you ignorant of your noble birth? You carry a God about within you. Poor wretch, and know nothing of it. You carry a God about within you. Everywhere you go, there's a divine right there at the center of your being, and you have no idea of this. Your abilities are as limitless as God's are, because you are a distinct portion of the essence of God. You need to change your awareness in order to wake up to what really excites you, rather than the ideas of what the world thinks you should be engaged in. Those old tapes in your head about what we should like, or what we should do for a living, or how we should spend our time. So often we are taught to listen to other people about what's best for us rather than ourselves. What I want us to do is to find that yes and. Yes, you want to find what excites you. You want to find that place of joy. You want to find that connection to your true nature. And at the same time, allow the world to inspire you greater rather than limit you. How can we navigate this time and realize that we have great gifts to give? That we have a great perspective to share? Instead of shrinking and holding back and living within that limited story that we're telling, we have to realize that we have great untapped resources within us. You have talents and abilities that you don't even know yet. And so as we connect with the divine and we listen to that inspiration, what you're going to realize is that there's a feeling that comes. It's like being jazzed and excited about something. When's the last time you were so excited about something that you lost track of time when you were participating in it? When's the last time that you got excited or inspired on something and read books about it and just spent all of your time exploring something new? Quarantine, sheltering in grace, sheltering in place, whatever we want to call this, is a wonderful time to explore some of those things that you haven't had time to explore up till now. And that's going to lead you to uncovering those talents and abilities that you didn't know that you had. Are you willing to listen to those divine thoughts that pique your interest? Or are you going to go on listening to the false ideas that the world has for you? That's living a false life. We're ready to live true, right? At this point, that's one of the things that I think this is calling us, is to realize that it's time for us to live our real lives. We're not going to fool around and waste our time on things that don't matter to us anymore. But in order to be able to do that, we have to allow ourselves to understand what really does bring us joy. What is that direction that our soul wants to go in, and honor it? It reminds me of a story. There's a story of a man who was born to an alcoholic parent. He was abandoned as a child, ended up in foster homes, which wasn't a great situation. He ended up being a classic underachiever. He grew up poor. He ended up enlisting without anywhere to go. He went into the Navy. And then after, he served for 4 years in the Navy, and when he got out, he ended up going to the university, but he was on a provisional acceptance because he had lower than average grades. He ended up as a stock boy and a cashier at a grocery store. Doesn't sound like a really great life, does it? Not a real high achiever. There wasn't a whole lot to work with in that. A very specific story. Well, this man went on to write more than 40 books, many of them being bestsellers. He's a household name, inspiring so many people on the spiritual path. That was Wayne Dyer. What if Wayne Dyer had believed what the world had been telling him for the first half of his life about his worth? What if Wayne Dyer had never realized that there was something within him that was calling him to a greater experience of life? What if he had never acknowledged that he had something to share and something to give? There would be so many people who would be much worse off in this moment. And I'm just so grateful that he was able to move into that place of sharing his gift, of shining his light. You would never know from his meager beginnings to where he would end up. And so we can't let any part of our story hold us back to the place where we are not going to share the gifts that we've come here to give in this life. We all have them. And so I'm going to encourage us to just listen to that divine call from within us that's calling forth and pulling forth those talents and abilities that we know that we don't know that we have. The second thing we're going to change is our awareness of our physicality, of our physical presence. So I want you, this is the example I want to use. I want you to think of an apple pie. Now all of a sudden I'm hungry, I want some apple pie. But just think of an apple pie. One slice of an apple pie has to be the same as the entire pie, right? It can't suddenly be pineapple or a banana cream pie, right? The same logic applies to all of us. If we come from this source, if we come from this presence, from this essence, from this spirit, if we come from God, how is it possible for us to be anything different from God? We are so harsh on ourselves, and especially about our physical bodies. There's so much judgment and criticism. Do you realize that when you put yourself down, especially about your physical body, you're doing that to God? We are taught that we are made in the image and likeness of God. We are divine beings. We are divine expressions of spirit. And so we need to take care of ourselves as if we were taking care of a precious gift from the Spirit. We are here in the perfect body for our time in this incarnation, and it's a living, breathing miracle in every way. It's guided and being directed by an invisible force that directs everything and everyone in the universe. It beats our hearts. It digests our food. It circulates our blood. It grows our hair and repairs our cuts and bruises, all independent of our own opinions. We have this beautiful, powerful, magnificent force that's alive as us, that is energizing and our bodies, that allow us to have the lives that we've come here to live. We all come from beauty, the divine presence of beauty, and we all are beauty incarnate. The words ugly and unlovely, as well as pretty and handsome, they come from a place of comparison, artificial standards set up by our ego-dominated culture. So when we live in spirit, it means that we see our bodies with all of the unique characteristics and feel thankful for the perfect temple that's temporarily housing our true nature. These bodies are like cars that we drive around, these vehicles that we have our lives in. They are divine expressions, they are divine manifestations, and we want to care for them in the same way that we would care for that divine gift. So the third thing I'm going to talk about is changing our awareness of our own personal histories. So this can be the greatest challenge. How we look upon what we've done or what we've not done, and view it through the lens of magnificence instead of shame, blame, and guilt. We are taught to evaluate our worth from the time we are very young. How well we fit in, what our grades are, how many merit badges we earn. And then as we grow older, as we become adults, it's about how much money we have, our status, our power, and the idea is that we have the chance to view our lives from the perspective that we did the best we could with what we had in any one moment. Let's breathe that in for a second. We've got the chance to see that we have done the best we could with what we had in any one moment. We are all at choice. We have the choice to learn and grow from our experiences or not. This is where self-acceptance and forgiveness come into play here. You can berate yourself and blame yourself and keep yourself tied to your limitations and to your faults and all the things that you think you've done wrong. Or you can move into a place of living in spirit, living inspired, which means that we take what the experiences of our lives are and we allow them to support our evolution, to support our growth and our understanding of ourselves, of life, of God, of how everything works. We can do better when we know better. When we know better, we do better. And so when we awaken to look at those things that we're ashamed of, when we look at those experiences and those choices, because let's face it, we've all done stuff that we're not happy with. There's things in our past histories that we may not be proud of. But we can do one of two things with them. We can stuff them. We can pretend they didn't happen. We can try to avoid it and hope that it doesn't come back to affect us. But as we know, it will come back to affect us, creating disease or discomfort or disharmony in the body or in the mind or in the experience of our lives. Or we could face the situations of our lives and realize that it's taking us to this moment. Everything that has happened in this life has got us to this moment. And this is a moment of being awake and aware that we are at choice as to how to move forward. And so we can find peace. We can find peace with our histories, with our past, if we move from the place of looking at ourselves from limitation and separation and judgment, from looking through those divine eyes, that all-seeing eye from our reading today, really allows us to accept what is, to allow us to move forward in an expansion, in an evolution. We can spiral up to a greater place of understanding. And we can only do that when we practice acceptance of the self. Acceptance and forgiveness. Now, our goal is to live in spirit, which means to be more like the creative source. Loving, giving, growing, evolving. So it's not about being better than anybody else or winning. Our worth comes from within, not from outside. It's about being better today than you were yesterday. So every experience in my life up to this day was something that I needed to experience in order to get here now, in order to move forward into that next adventure of my soul. It's true for me, it's true for you, it's true for all of us. And so the idea is to be gentle with yourself, to be accepting and forgiving. Jesus taught us to forgive. How much are we supposed to forgive? 70 times 7, which just basically means all the time. We are called to be a forgiving presence. And not only to those who trespass against us, but to ourselves for all the things that we think we've done wrong. I want us to practice being the friend that you know God would be to you. How could you be the friend that God would be to you? How can you love and accept yourself the way that the divine sees you? Let's shift our awareness and begin to look through those eyes, and that will allow us to move into a deeper connection and understanding of God. And so living inspired and in spirit reminds us that we all matter, that we have a part to play, and that our lives have purpose. I love that Richard Bach said, "Here's the test to find whether your mission on earth is finished." Okay, you listening? If you're alive, it isn't. You have meaning and purpose. You are here on purpose. I was reminded this week of, we're moving into the summer and there's a question of the kids going off to college, and it was reminding me of my freshman year of college. And the first day, my first class was a huge, it was a psychology seminar class with about 200 people in it. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to handle this? And I was sitting in the middle of this lecture hall, and my professor comes to the podium, and I've got my notebook out, and this is a long time ago, so we didn't have computers to take notes. I actually had a notebook and a pencil to take notes. And so I'm sitting there waiting to take my notes, right? I'm a freshman, I'm ready to go, wide-eyed. And I remember he just said, this is the one thing I want you to get from this class. He said, no matter what you do in your college career and beyond, he said, don't be mediocre. Find what you love and work hard at it. Don't be mediocre. That is the one thing that I remember from freshman psychology. That is the one thing that has stayed with me forever. Because what I think it's so true that we are called to be magnificent. But so often we get lazy. So often we let those ideas of ourselves, that sense of limitation to guide our way. But you know what? It's time to let that go. It's time to not allow that to hold us back. You can never truly be mediocre because you are magnificent. Our goal is to wake up to this magnificence so that you can open to the divine inspiration. And when you do this, you'll see how your life shifts from being a drudgery, from being afraid of what's coming, to an experience of pure joy. You find ways in which you can contribute to the peace and the well-being of the world just by being you and following your inspiration. And this can happen even in the midst of a pandemic. So this week, my goal for us is to find a way to connect to that deeper wisdom and guidance and move into that place of being inspired. And as we do that, we begin to live in spirit, and all unfolds before us. And so it is. Peace and blessings.
All right, this week I'm going to remember to do the camera.
Did you know? Oh, right.
Remember last week?
Oh, right. Oh, right.
My little
You got to
head-
move the camera.
My little head was
so
in the
that
corner.
we don't have John's floating head. John
I
Foltz.
like that.
We like John's floating head.
I would love to subtitle your talk. The Divine Platypus.
The divine platypus.
That was...
There we go. I'm obsessed with platypi.
Is that how you really say it?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but we're going to go with it. It sounds correct.
Yeah, well.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and we'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it, want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Lovely, that's great. Oh, there goes all those hearts.
Hearts.
Everyone loves it. Hearts, 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 hearts,
Hearts and
hearts, hearts,
smiles.
hearts, and smiles.
We like those.
Yeah. Yay. Okay. All right. So, I think I need to come closer to you in the shot. So,
Yes.
you have to look that way though. Usually. Okay, so this is the time of our service when we have the opportunity to remind everyone about the importance of continuing to support your spiritual community. We are in the middle of the summer, and the summer is traditionally the times when our offering goes down a little bit and our bills go up a little bit, and that's still happening even though we are here. So in this year, what happened was we had this amazing plan for our fundraising program, and that got all pushed off to the side.
With everything
with
else.
everything else. And so we just want to, again, say thank you to everyone who has consistently been leaning in and supporting the community financially. We still have all of our bills and to stay current with. It's our goal. We're struggling to do it. We have been just making it closely, and so we are grateful. And we just want to. I just want to remind you that any gift makes a difference. Any offering makes a difference in support of allowing us to continue to bring this to you, to move into a place of upgrading our technology, of allowing us to still continue with the work that CSLTV does. So we just want to remind you the importance of it and say thank you very much. There's a couple of ways you could do that. If you want to be one of the regular givers, you could call our administrator, Diane Keys, at the office. You could sign up for Auto Tithe, where the offering just every month, the amount that you decide that gets donated every month very easily. You don't need to think about it or worry about it if you're traveling or how to get it to us and all of that. It makes it a lot easier. You could give through our website, through PayPal. We have a donate button on our website at csltv.org. You could call our friend Diane, good morning Diane, who's watching us from the center this morning at 951-304-0268. You could give her a call. She could run a credit card for you, or you could mail your offering in also. So we're so grateful for this generous community, and knowing that together we're going to get through this together, absolutely. And so I do it on my phone. So I'm going to put my phone on my heart and just take a breath with me. Let's just center in remembering the infinite abundance of God, knowing that this infinite spirit, this creative source, is source of all things, and it moves and breathes itself into being in all and as all in each and every one of us. And so each is inspired, sourced, supported from on high. And that abundance moves through our experience and out into that which we want to see grow and expand. And so as we give, we open that channel of flow of giving and receiving, allowing for the divine to move powerfully through our experience. So I bless this offering. I give thanks for it, knowing that it goes to support the light shining brightly in the Temecula Valley and beyond through our technology, reaching out to all those who can be served and supported by this message. And so with a grateful heart, I allow it to be. And so it is.
So it is.
So together, you ready?
Yeah.
Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now.
Blessed always, blessed always. God surround us, and let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say, Amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say, Amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say, Amen.
Lovely, thank you. So I want to take a moment and say thank you to our beloved Tina Foltz, who's hosting our chat online this morning. Good morning, Tina. Thank you so much. Hi, honey.
Bye, honey.
I want to say thank you to John Foltz, who has been you've been so great doing this with me. I really appreciate you. I know everybody loves getting to hear you every week, and we're just so grateful for you. You're the best, John. You really are the best. So I have a few announcements. And so let's see, our book study, I'm going to do this kind of quick because we've got a lot going on. Our book study's taking a break, but they're going to come back on the 29th, so a week from this coming Wednesday, starting a book called Change Me Prayers. Change Me Prayers, The Hidden Power of Spiritual Surrender by Tosha Silver. So that's going to start on the 29th. Our teen group is still taking a break for July and August. And I just want to actually send a shout out really quickly to our own teen, Mimi Meacham, who this past week on the virtual teen camp was elected to teen leadership. So congratulations, Mimi. We're really proud of you. We're excited. And that means she's going to be part of the planning for what's coming forward in the next year. So we celebrate with you, Mimi. We're so glad to have you part of that teen leadership for the whole movement. It's really great. Our men's ministry is meeting on Wednesdays with Reverend Michael Summers, and so you could reach out to him if you'd like to join that group. They get online on Zoom and chat it up every Wednesday. And so, I encourage you, if you haven't hung out with them, they're hilarious and wonderful, and I really encourage you to reach out to him and join them. Our Sisters in Spirit meet on the first and third Thursday of the month. And so what I heard was that this past Thursday morning, they actually went to Journey's for breakfast.
Yummy.
So they sat out on the deck and they were doing social distancing, and Journey's is still open. I don't really know how that's working, but so their plan is, as long as everybody's comfortable with it, their plan is the first Thursday of the month they're going to do a Zoom meeting, and then the third Thursday of the month they're going to try and go to breakfast. So Pam Migliozzi is the one to check in about that, and I'm excited about that for them. That's really great.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's really cool.
They're not the ladies who lunch, they're the ladies who breakfast. So the ladies who breakfast. Okay, so our Spiritual Connection at 7 series is continuing, 7 a.m., 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. And our practitioners are starting to participate in leading these two. I'm very excited about it. It's a 20-minute meditation where you just get on and do some guided meditation together, and it's such a great way to connect with that divine presence within. So if you want to live in spirit and inspired, I encourage you to practice your meditation with us at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. The practitioners are also leading Power of 8 groups. This is really exciting, and it started this past week, but there's one more chance to get into it. So they're open this next week, and then they're going to be closed for the rest of the series. So Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m., it's a half-hour session. It's free. This is free. It's led by our practitioners. It's another spiritual practice geared towards healing and intention setting. And so I strongly encourage you to reach out to Reverend Dr. Victoria Bomberry, who's leading this for us. And she can put you into a group. I think the Tuesday, Wednesday groups are the ones that have the most space. But if you want to participate, please reach out to Victoria, and she will help guide you into one of these groups. The practitioners did this before they led them, And I have heard over and over about such powerful experiences, healing, manifestations that they had through that. And so this is a perfect time in the middle of all of this craziness in the world to really find a grounding, a place to be grounding and connecting spiritually. So there's another opportunity for you to do that. And so last week I made a little boo-boo.
Uh-oh.
I did.
Boo-boos.
I made a little mistake, so I apologize about that. But we have been working on putting together a series of dialogues on race. So I'm working with, again, Reverend Dr. Victoria Bonberry, Ted Blake, our practitioner Don Taylor, and we are getting ready to launch a 4-evening series on race. It's called Race Matters, Setting a Course for Freedom for All. And so that's going to start in August. It's going to be on Wednesday nights in August in place of the Spiritual Connection at 7. So for those Wednesday nights in August, it's about an hour. Again, this is free. We are just really wanting to come together to create a forum for us to share, to listen, and to open to how we can support this unfolding experience of coming to equality for all people. And we encourage you and invite you to join us. So that's going to be a couple weeks. So it's the first Wednesday in August. So that's what I've got. Oh my goodness, there's a lot going on there.
Lots.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, good. All right, so with that, let's do some prayer.
All right.
Okay? So let's just take a breath right where we are. And so how good it is to connect on the inner plane. Just realizing this infinite divine presence of God is everywhere present, including at the center of our being, and we connect to it through the breath. Knowing that God is that powerful healing force of love, a divine harmony and perfection, divine right time. I know God in, through, and as all, and it is alive here in this word, in this moment, in this day, as we honor the magnificence of Spirit that is made manifest in each and every one of us, allowing that divine spark to glow brightly, shining its light out from the center of each and every person out into the world, bringing forth more of that unique expression of love and of peace, of joy, of creativity, of power and presence. And so I know that anything that holds us back from allowing our true nature to reveal itself falls away. Any sense of limitation, any old story that we hold about ourselves or about the world simply surrenders itself. And we see as God sees, that evolution, that unfoldment, that growth and expansion of life as us, bringing forth more peace, more joy, more love. And so as we see through this clear eye, I know we move into this week allowing for that divine inspiration, that divine guidance, that inner knowing to speak clearly to us, through us, guiding us as we choose and step forth in creating the experience of our lives. And so going guided, supported, and loved, I know each of us has that presence alive within us, and it continues to source and support us in all ways. I speak a word of healing and of wholeness for all those who are experiencing challenges in the body or in the mind or the heart. I'm knowing that anyone who is feeling limited, that the divine is right there where they are, already taking down those walls of limitation, those old ideas of who we are, who we were. And what emerges is that true presence, that essence of being, of why we've come. And so I bless this week of joy, this week of creativity, this week of love and of light, knowing that this is a week of God. And with a grateful heart, I simply accept this truth for all, knowing Spirit so beautifully in action. And I let it be. And so it is.
There was a time in my life got to let it go, let it all go. And listen what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. My heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God.
And as we step forth in this week, I know we share our magnificence and live inspired and in spirit. And so it is.
And so it is.
Happy Sunday, everybody. We love you. We miss you.
Stay cool out there.
Stay cool, stay safe, wear a mask. Take care.